Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. This proposed Steelers quarterback fix is so wild, it just might work. At this point, the Pittsburgh Steelers have tried just about everything to fix their quarterback position short of offering a king's ransom to move up to the top of the NFL draft and taking a blue-chip prospect. Don't hold your breath on that one. Since Ben Roethlisberger's retirement, this team gave Mason Rudolph a shot, spent a first-round pick on Kenny Pickett, and experimented with a journeyman in Mitch Trubisky. In 2024, Mike Tomlin looked to reputable veterans to fill the void, signing Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Sadly, all of their efforts have fallen short. What's worse is that there isn't a great answer as to what the Steelers should do. Ideally, the front office would love to land a top-flight quarterback prospect in the draft. But this typically requires a team to bottom out, or at least play poorly enough to be within striking range of trading up for a highly graded QB prospect. In this year's draft, the top two quarterbacks, Miami's Cam Ward and Colorado's Shedeur Sanders, will be long gone before the Steelers are on the clock with the 21st overall pick. Likewise, the free agency options are underwhelming. Sam Darnold is a pricey journeyman with just one good season, and fans are fearful he could revert back to his old ways. Meanwhile, Russell Wilson wasn't good enough to get the job done on a veteran minimum contract as a 36-year-old, and things wouldn't get any better if Pittsburgh signed him to a lucrative deal. Likewise, aging veterans like Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins are underwhelming, short-term fixes if they become available. Instead of going with the status quo, the Steelers could try something wild at the quarterback position. But it's so bizarre that it just might work. If Mike Tomlin is set on becoming a good running team, and assuming we can't change his mind, why not go with a quarterback who has unlimited potential as a rusher? Jalen Milroe is a polarizing prospect who isn't your traditional quarterback. If you watched Alabama closely this year, you might be scared to death about what Milroe offers as a passer. In terms of consistency and accuracy from the pocket, there's much work that needs to be done, and he's not guaranteed to ever be great in this area. Milroe finished the 2024 season with underwhelming production in the SEC that included 2,844 passing yards to go with 16 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. However, it's what Milroe offers as a runner that could make him a nightmare for NFL teams to defend. In 13 games this past year, Milroe gashed defenses for 726 rushing yards and a whopping 20 scores on the ground. Between 2023 and 2024, the dual-threat quarterback produced 1,257 rushing yards and a whopping 33 rushing touchdowns. What does it matter if you're putting the ball in the end zone through the air or on the ground as long as you're hitting pay dirt? To get the most out of Milroe, the Steelers would be wise to cater to his skill set. Asked and answered, January 21st. Dan Turek from Brielle, New Jersey. I understand Russell Wilson is not in the same class as the elite quarterbacks in the league, but I'm not convinced he was the big problem on offense. He had a weak receiving core and terrible pass protection. At his age, Wilson is not the long-term solution, but do you think he played poorly? How much responsibility is his for the late-year losing streak? Answer: football often is described as the ultimate team sport, and breaking it down into 11-man units, it would be rare for a single individual to be responsible for a loss, to say nothing of a 4-game losing streak to end the regular season followed by a one-and-done in the playoffs. There likely are a variety of ways to attribute a loss in a team sport that's 11 on 11 for 60 minutes, but in the court of public opinion, the quarterback gets too much credit for wins and too much blame for losses. It's part of that job. Like every other position on the team, quarterback wasn't the sole reason for the losing streak, but it wasn't blameless either. And since only one quarterback plays at a time, that serves to individualize the emotion tied to the credit or the blame. Michael Kish from Sarasota, Florida. Why do you think Mike Tomlin / Terrell Austin have gotten away from our Blitzburg past? Seems to me rushing 4 or 5 against an offense using 5 or 6 blockers in protection allows a quarterback too much time for his receivers to get open. Answer: that's a question I cannot definitively answer, but my sense is that of primary concern to the defense is keeping a lid on it. By that I mean not allowing chunk plays that either directly ring up the scoreboard, or set up a scoring opportunity, or flip the field, those single snaps of the ball that have an impact on the outcome of a game. Maybe the idea is to prioritize the minimizing of chunk plays and then count on someone on the defense to make a play to get off the field. The Steelers cultivate a turnover culture, and they led the NFL in 2024 in takeaways with 33 to 17 interceptions and 16 fumble recoveries, and I easily remember a half-dozen instances of the ball being on the ground and the other team recovering it. Also, the secondary doesn't have the personnel to hold up in a lot of the man coverage situations a lot of blitzing can create, and so if the rush doesn't get home right away, guys like Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes will make you pay one way or another. In my opinion, a couple of focuses for the upcoming offseason should be a commitment to upgrading both the defensive line and the depth chart at cornerback. 5 potential landing spots for Steelers quarterback Justin Fields in free agency. During Mike Tomlin's end-of-season press conference, he made some interesting comments. He was not afraid to acknowledge the progress that Justin Fields showed this year, and he was also adamant that the club needed a quarterback who provided some sort of mobility in his skill set. Right now, the Steelers have the difficult task of finding a quarterback for the upcoming 2025 campaign. Perhaps Russell Wilson will be their guy, or maybe both he and Fields will be re-signed. Either way, the fan base has voiced their majority, and most want Fields to be the starter next season. On the surface, it makes sense as the former first-round pick could be a nice bridge option who might turn out to be something. If not in Pittsburgh, Fields will get a shot somewhere else to either prove himself or fail. Pittsburgh Steelers. If you asked when the Steelers were 10-3, everyone would have said Russell Wilson was the answer in Pittsburgh. After their late-season collapse, the future of Wilson and the Steelers is back in question. Fields remains in play as he would be much cheaper according to contract projections. If they want a cheaper bridge option, who could develop further than Fields should be their guy. New York Giants. It is hard to believe the Giants are still rolling back with their head coach and general manager at the helm. They are a terrible team and it looks like they will be a disaster once again. Fields could land with the Giants as they could offer him an easy path to a starting job. They might panic and overdraft a quarterback in the event. If they do that, then Fields to New York might seem like a grim outcome. Las Vegas Raiders. When Fields became available for trade, many connected him to the Las Vegas Raiders. It made sense at the time, and it makes more sense now with him heading to free agency. They have almost no one at the quarterback spot right now, and Fields could be a competent starter for them. If he leaves Pittsburgh, then he could find a quality landing spot in Las Vegas with a rebuilding club. Cleveland Browns. Here is the nightmare scenario for the Steelers in the Fields free agency situation. Cleveland needs a quarterback for next year after Deshaun Watson re-injured his Achilles. Fields shouldn't cost too much money, and the Browns are trying their best to convince Myles Garrett they can remain contenders. Fields might not be the perfect answer to Cleveland's prayers, but it would make Steelers fans angry. Minnesota Vikings. With Sam Darnold listed as the top quarterback in a weak free agency class, he will get paid a lot of money. The Vikings ended their season with a playoff disaster, and it seems like they might move on from Darnold. If that is the case, then they would probably prefer having a starting option to challenge J.J. McCarthy this upcoming season. Fields could have a great opportunity in Minnesota. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Russell Wilson? Leave your opinion in the comments.